Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ann, and you're watching Iron Sharpens Iron Council, a ministry dedicated to uplift humanity. And today we have Kim joining us to tell her story about, regaining her confidence and fighting CPS for her children. And so Kim, just give the people a little bit of a background so that, they don't know you and they need, to hear what happened, what did you do, and why did you keep fighting despite the odds that were stacked against you. This is about giving hope.
Okay, well, about 3 years ago, CYS showed up at my door. They call them CYS here. CYS showed up at my door saying that there was reports that I was yelling at my children. Apparently that they had a recording from behind my door, so it was an illegal recording of me yelling at my children because they messed up the kitchen. I didn't hit them. The person who was recording even said that they didn't hear me hitting them. They didn't, I was just yelling. I was angry. So they actually cornered me out in the parking lot, and they had police with them at the time. And at the time, my daughter had a broken collarbone, and that was actually done at a family function. She had fallen off the chair. Took her to the hospital. She was fine. So when they took the children out of the car, I mentioned, you need to be careful with her collarbone because, it's broken. And they basically accused me of breaking my daughter's collarbone. And they asked me if I had any proof about, taking her to the hospital, and I told them, the instructions were pretty basic, just keep the arm in a sling. I didn't think I needed the instructions.
Right.
So I had thrown them away.
How long ago was the incident with the hospital until the CYS people showed up? Was it like a while? A few weeks?
It was about a week. However, that's not what the call was for. Even my doctor said that the kids break their collarbones all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a week later. You don't think that you need that paperwork. I mean, when I go to the doctors, I literally throw the paperwork away the same day. Like it's irrelevant. You don't think that you need that stuff. Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't need all the clutter in my house. I already got toys everywhere.
Right. Okay.
So, when I took her out, they accused me of breaking her collarbone and told me to show them the proof that I had taken her to the hospital. I told them I didn't have it. I started looking through my car for it because I was like, maybe, it's in my car or something. At that time, they told me to call the hospital. Well, the emergency room actually lost her records. And they were in the process of finding it, and one of the CYS workers came around the corner and was like, get off your phone, we know you didn't take her to the hospital. And I have a live feed of me in the hospital with her, being like, hey, my daughter's in the hospital, blah, blah. So she's like, get off the phone. So I wanted to comply with them, so I got off the phone. And I really didn't know what was happening. They wanted access to my house, and at that point I was like, no, you're not coming into my house. And the cop said, why can't we go into your house? I said, because, it's my right to let you into the house or not. My kids are outside here. You have no reason to go into my house. And I said, you can see my children outside here. They're just fine. Well, the cop looked at me and goes, we're going to have fun with you. And I'm like, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, right?
Unbelievable.
So the whole time, they asked me if, I would submit to a family plan and I would have my children go with family members. So I'd called my family members. They were on their way. And in the midst of all this, apparently they had a judge sign paperwork to remove my children under emergency care over the phone. They didn't show me any paperwork. They didn't, and I didn't know my rights back then. I didn't know what all went into this. I'd never dealt with it before.
Right.
So they basically said, you have no choice. You have to give your children to us, and you have to sign these papers. So, wanting to comply with them and not wanting to resist them, I let them. My children were devastated. They went into a foster home for about 10 days until my grandmother got kinship. and they stayed with her for about 8 months, and then they went to their uncles, who has now adopted them. The whole time, I signed the family plan or whatever they had me do. But, however, those goals were unattainable. They were they wanted me to go to a parenting class, an interactive parenting class in a whole nother county. And I don't have a car, and I don't have a license at the time. And they know this. My public defender was pretty much useless. By the end of the case, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't have a license." I'm like, "No, that was the whole factor of this." So I feel like they kind of just, they pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off until...
They do. They set you up for failure, and even when you comply, you go along to get along, and then they still do whatever they want to do and run right over you. That's what they do. So don't feel bad, Kim.
Exactly. So they did. I found out about a month or two before my children's rights were about to be stripped from me that I was pregnant again. And I pretty much was faced with, what's the best course of action. And my attorney or my public defender had told me, there's absolutely no way you're going to get your kids back. You didn't complete all of the stuff that they wanted you to do. Even though it was unattainable, you still didn't do it. So she said, there are advantages to giving up your rights as opposed to having them strip your rights. They said that, because my work experience was mainly based around children, they said that, I wouldn't go into a public registry and I could still work with children. And and by the way, I didn't have any charges filed on that, and they did prove that I did take my child to the hospital.
Oh, okay. So you were cleared of that suspicion in the first place. No new charges.
Yes.
And
no, they couldn't even prove that I was abusing my children, because they interviewed my children up and down, and my daughter was only like 4 years old, my oldest. And they interviewed my kids up and down. They said that there was absolutely no fear when it came to me, that they wanted to be back with their mom. They'd get upset every time they leave visitation, and so they noted this, but they said, "Oh, well, you didn't do your family plan, so we're taking your kids away from you." So it was just crazy. So she said, any new babies you have, you would not be subject to CYS involvement unless there was another case against you. So I decided that, because they are with family, even though I can't see them right now, even though they're with family, I thought that, maybe, and I know that they're safe, so maybe I should just sign my rights over and have a chance of saving this baby, because I don't know what's going to happen to her. I don't know if she's going to go to my aunt and uncle. I don't, if she's going to get washed up in the system.
Yeah.
I could keep trying to fight this and risk that, or I can just, sign my rights over. So ultimately, I did sign my rights over.
When did you do that?
That was October of last year.
Okay, so almost a year ago. Okay.
Yes. I haven't seen my children since then. So it's been tough. They don't even know they have a little sister, and my entire family gets to see them. Pretty much, it's just me. I'm not allowed to see them. I have contacted my aunt and uncle and asked if I could see them. They said right now it wouldn't be in their best interest to see me. I don't know why. I'm not really given any other kind of explanation. They don't come to family functions that I'm at. We're all pretty tight-knit family. And so for them not to show up at family functions is kind of saying something.
Yeah. They pretty much bought into the fraudulent system. And they've,
Yeah, I think they really did not help. They were reported spanking my children, and I had reported them for spanking my children while under foster care. And the CYS worker came over, interviewed my kids. My kids said, yes, they are spanking me. My son, who's the youngest, would cry for me, or he would, have an accident in his underwear. He was getting potty trained, and they would spank him for it. or they would have my daughters belittle them.
Oh, how old was your son at that time?
At that time, he was 2.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
You
so
know, and I mean, he was very close.
very, very little, just a baby. Where okay, so let's fast forward really quickly to where you are now and with your baby, the new baby now. What did you do differently to prevent this from happening? Just want to give the people some, a ray of
Well, right. So when my baby was born, CYS again showed up at my hospital room trying to take the baby,
wow.
saying that there was reports that I was a drug addict
Oh,
and that I was mentally unstable.
wow.
And I kind of laughed at them. And I said, I've been in counseling for over a year, and I want you to come in and give me a drug test right now. I know I don't have to submit to a drug test, but let's debunk these things right now. So they were kind of shocked. They were like, "What? Like she wants to get a drug test?" I'm like, "Yes, because I know I'm clean."
Right.
These are just people who are spreading negativity and hate towards me. And so, I proved that I was in counseling, and I took a drug test. I was clean. I just had a C-section. I didn't even come up for the pain pills they gave me because I wasn't taking them.
Wow.
So after that, they said, okay, well, because of your past, we want to do a family plan. For 60 days, I was not allowed to be alone with my baby. There had to be like an authorized person around my baby. Luckily, my grandmother stepped up, and I do live with her. So she stepped up and she said, I will be around the baby, while she's around the baby.
Okay.
So for 60 days, we did that. And then when the intake worker came to the house, she said everything was beautiful. I had everything ready for the baby. She said, however, because of my past, they want to continue this case and accept me for services. I asked her on what basis that was, and she said, because you might have postpartum depression.
Oh.
I said,
So she's giving
okay.
she's giving legal advice and medical advice. She's so special. She's just so special and nice. Did she? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Right.
Amazing.
So she said that her department wanted her to open me up to services. I said, what services do you want? Like, what would you expect of me if I were to agree with the services? You know what I'm saying? I said, initially, I signed the family planning because I wanted to show you guys that I am, better or whatever,
Right.
by your standards, that I am stable, that I'm not resisting. I said, but how long is this going to go on until my child's 2, until she's 18? Like, what's going to go on here?
Right.
How long am I going to have you guys hanging over my backs? And she said, oh, well, it would basically be until you complete your goals. And it was just like a nightmare all over again. I started having flashbacks. I was like, no. I was like, we're not going to do this until you complete. I said, well, what do I have to complete? She said, oh, well, you have to continue going to therapy, and you have to continue taking her to doctor's appointment. And I said, okay, let me stop you there. How am I supposed to complete therapy? You know what I'm saying? I said, how am I supposed to complete being a good parent? That's something that's ongoing. That's something that I'm always going to do. And she's like, well, you gotta, keep being clean. And I was like, listen, I submitted over the whole course of this, I submitted to 15 drug tests and 10 breathalyzers. None of them.
And that was
None of them
over and above and beyond what you needed to do, but you didn't know that at the time. You were just trying to go along to get along, and they're still coming at you.
Yeah, I knew 100% that was. I knew 100% that was above and beyond, and I told them that I've proven over and over and over and over again, that I am a good parent and that I am stable and that I don't even really need to be doing this. And I kept reminding them that this is all voluntary. I don't need to be doing this. I'm not court ordered to do anything. I haven't signed any papers other than the family plan.
There you go. Good for you.
So that kind of intimidated them, And so pretty much when my initial caseworker came in, not the intake, but the actual ongoing case manager came in, I explained this to all this to her, and she was like, who is your intake caseworker? You know, and I have to thank God, because honestly, she was an awesome caseworker. She had no interest in taking my baby. She had no interest in forcing me to do things that she didn't think was above and beyond for me to do. She was like, pretty much like, okay, well, I have to come back in 30 days to make sure you're still good. I'm like, okay, cool. However, a couple weeks ago, they wanted me to sign another family plan. And I told them that there's no need for me to sign a family plan, because basically they told me, okay, we're looking at closing your case, but we want you to sign this family plan. And I was like, no, because that gives you the right to keep this going for 15 months or more. You know what I'm saying? This gives you the right to come in and take my baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
You froze for a second there.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
back. Okay.
Where did it freeze at?
You said you refused to sign a new family plan because they literally told you that they were going to close the case, but still, offering you to sign this new family plan.
Yes, exactly. And they basically told me, if you sign this plan, we will close the case. And I said, okay, that doesn't sound right to me.
Wow.
That doesn't sound right to me at all.
What is this, playing a Monopoly board game now?
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, here, give us the power and we'll close your case. I'm like, that's not how this works. And I even told my family, I was like, they're going to have to fight me in court now. I said, I've proven myself and I've gone above and beyond. They're going to have to fight me. They didn't want to go that far after that. So basically, my advice would be to really think about your risk and reward. Sometimes you don't have to do things, but it would be in your best interest to do things. Unless specified by an attorney. I didn't have an attorney through this whole thing, However, if they were to have taken me in front of a judge, any judge would have been like, why? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you did,
especially because
you did the best that you could at the time, and I commend you for that, because, most people would have just given up. And so you did the best that you could at the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I had the father of my child working against me at that point. I had, a lot of people working against me, but it's closed now. So I actually got a voicemail saying that it had been closed.
Good.
Like I said, I didn't need to submit those drug tests, but guess what? That was more ammo for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew I was going to come up clean. Yeah. So they couldn't have used that against me at all.
Yes. And they knew they had nothing. So the day that you stood up for your rights is the day that they closed the case. I promise you, because they like easy targets. They like people who don't know and who are afraid and who are easy to intimidate. But what you're doing is giving people that hope, because believe me, with just that ray of hope, people can fight back and start winning and shutting these cases down and actually circling back and suing them for damages. Okay, that's what
absolutely. I plan to do that.
Oh yeah. But I just thank you so much. I know this was very last minute, but I saw your story on Facebook, last night, and I was like, I gotta reach out to this woman. This is just incredible. You can also go back and fight for your children, the ones that were already taken, because I'm working on, it's not a very large team, but it's a small team of people that I network with. We don't work together, but we come together for different projects, such as, fighting CPS. And I'm putting together a course and with different steps that work for us. And it's kind of a labor of love, because I want to put it out as quickly as possible, but I want to make sure that what I put out is good and that it will work, number one, and number two, that it won't hurt people, hurt your case any further. So it's kind of like, I always have this internalized, kind of battle, because I want to get the information out, to help as many people as possible, but I also know that, you know, I have a responsibility to make sure that the information is correct, you know, and accurate, and won't hurt you or hurt the children that are involved in the case any further. And so, yeah,
that's a big mistake that I made with my first case, is because, you know, I would get loud, or my rights. And I mean, that's all well and fine, but when you're not playing on a clear playing field, that it doesn't work. You know, so you really got to tiptoe and you got to be delicate.
It's a delicate case, especially when they already have custody of the children. Okay. So now we are doing a reverse engineer of what has already been done, what has already transpired. So we have the tools, but you have to definitely go a little bit more gently when you've already lost the children and trying to regain custody of the children. Okay.
Yeah. But things like the more I fought back, the more they fought back.
Right, but I'm telling you, we have the paperwork, whereas they have given children back with just step one. But it's work with a few states. I can't like guarantee it, because the variable here are the different parents, different mom, different dad. You gotta have that soul to fight. You got to have that will to fight, because they're going to come at you. Even if you have the most winning, the most stellar write-up, they're going to still fight you, because, you know, you're messing with their money now. Okay. Some people's heads are going to roll, and some people are going to lose their jobs, because I don't play. I'm very aggressive. My paperwork is very aggressive, and I had to learn over the years to tone it down sometimes, give people a chance first. But it's just that I'm tired of them taking advantage of us, because they know we don't know the law and the terms and everything that they pull us through. And so
well, that's what I was saying, because there's moms out there, there's people out there who horribly abuse their baby. Right now in York County, we have a case for Dante Mullinex, whose mother completely beat him, and he ended up dying. He had cigarette burns. He had, rashes all over his private areas. CYS was involved. The same county that I was involved with was involved with him and kept him with his mother. And that disgusts me, that they would take 3 children away from a loving home, but would keep him in a homeless shelter with someone who was abusing him.
Yeah. Well, as disturbing as it is, we figured out the reason. We can't say it publicly, because then that's when they attack my videos. It's sick, but we have the antidote and we have the solution, and they don't want it out in the public. And that's how we're winning, and that's how we're turning the tables on them. Again, my paperwork is very aggressive, because I don't play with them. I don't play. I don't like what they're doing, and it's time that they stop. They've been running the show now for 200 years. It's time for us to turn the tables. And the best way that I could help people is I could put it in writing and put it out there on the Educators Network, because I get so many people coming at me. I get overwhelmed, because I can't help everyone. I only have 2 hands. Like, look at me. I'm just like a T-Rex here. I only have two tiny hands. So the best way that me and my team have figured out, or I shouldn't say my team, I should say the team of, the network that I've connected to, people who are like ass kickers, and they're not taking any games from them anymore. It's like, okay, we're going to go for it. We're going to go to the top, because we're principals, and principals deal with principals. We don't deal with the little peons. We deal with principals. Okay. And the one thing, if I do want to drop a nugget, because again, my videos get attacked, especially when we're going after like CPS crap. The one nugget that I want you to realize, and you didn't know this, is everything is by contract. Everything is commercial, and everything is by consent. But if you withdraw that consent and you know you're right, they back off. And that's what we put in writing. We don't have any special magical tools. It's just that we know the rights that we have, and we empower you to know your rights and speak your truth, and they back off. And that's all we want. We just want to empower you. We give you the information, and then it's up to you, because we're not there with you. You have to find that power from within, right, and you have to take it to them. Right. You have to be willing to take it to them, and that's what you do.
Even if you threaten to withdraw consent, they start backing off. So, and that's in my experience, what I've seen. I was pretty much like, you're gonna have to start fighting me. And they're like, that's not worth the battle, because we know we're going to lose.
Right. They only like the easy pickings. That's it. If you give them any resistance, they're ready to leave you alone. They're ready to leave you alone. So we have the tools. We're trying to get it, I'm in the process of writing it up now, but I'm telling you, Kim, I get inundated with requests, not just with CPS cases, but just all types of legal matters. And people need to understand, I am a fellow researcher and student, okay? And I'm writing up my knowledge base as quickly as I can. But my purpose, I think, in life now, I think I found my new mission, which is to empower other people, right? And I do that through through the courses. And I will, as soon as it's finished, I will definitely provide it to you. I'll give you the link and everything, and you can download it for free. And because I appreciate what you're doing, and I want to empower you to get the other 3 back that that you've already lost, and let them know that you're not playing these games anymore. You know who you are, and you're gonna come. You're coming back. They're gonna wish they never messed with you. That's the goal. So you're not alone, because I know it can feel very isolating, and like you're just it's just you up against the world, but you're not alone. You have me. You have people, all our viewers that are gonna watch this are gonna support you in spirit, and you will get those babies back. I promise you. When you see the paperwork and you submit it. And you already have the missing ingredient, which is that confidence. Once you lose that fear, that's it. That's all we need. I can work with that. I can't work with nobody, ready to punk out and like, nah, I'm scared. No, I can't work with no punks. I can't work.
Well, my family has encouraged me to keep my mouth shut. Just count my blessings with my baby. Yeah. And I told him absolutely not. I said, 'cause how many other kids are they doing this to? And that's pretty much where I'm coming from.
It's the indoctrination of fear. That's where they're coming from. Don't feel bad for them. It's just they don't know any better. This is all they know. This is all they know. So they just know to they're the law. They're the authority. No, they're not. You are the authority over your own offspring. How about that? So yeah, we will definitely. Exactly. We will circle back, and I'll keep in touch and make sure that you have the link when it's ready. I'm still working on it, and I just want to see you made whole again. If nothing else come out of this, I want everyone to be made whole, and know that they have the power. As long as they come with the confidence, hey, I have the documents that's going to help you. So I appreciate you for taking the time out to to share your story. And you never know whose lives you're going to touch, by sharing it. So thank you very much.
Exactly.
Yeah, you never know.
You are so welcome. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Thank you so much. Okay, but let me just sign off real quick. This channel promotes world peace for a society above race, politics, and religion, one story at a time, one video at a time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss a new video. Be safe, and until the next video, peace, bliss, and positive vibes only. Bye, everybody.